Swedish Delight.
Good stuff from
Like,
Swedish.
Swedish Delight. But Swedish, I feel like my mind is just like, it's just like he's just good.
Really, really good player in general. There's just...
Welcome back, guys, to another video. In today's video, we have a pretty special guest. His name is James Liu. Go ahead and introduce yourself really fast.
Okay, sure. So my name is James Liu. I'm a first-year medical student at Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine, and I also am known by Swedish Delight in the gaming world, and I was a pro Melee player over the last few years.
Do you still play professionally in terms of Melee?
Yes and no. Over the last year, I definitely took a step back in traveling. I used to be part of teams, OG eSports, and then Renegades. I was sponsored player with them through 2017 to 2019. Basically, I was playing under a banner. And then once I started school, I had to take a step back in traveling and competing. I still went to a big tournament in Oakland this year, right before the quarantine started, basically a month before. Yeah, it's still a big part of my life in terms of casual experiences as a hobby. So it's definitely important when you're in med school to keep on doing what you love from before as well.
Now, can you just explain a little bit about like how you got into the whole thing and like when you knew that you were probably good enough to go pro?
Yeah, so I only used to play like with my brother in high school. He made me play because he wanted to be good. And then in college, I like made a bunch of friends who also like traveled and did a lot of things. And we were lucky to have Rutgers University as a site of some national events or international events as well. And I got to start meeting people there. And eventually, because of all the experiences I had, in my senior year of college, I decided I wanted to try out traveling and competing more than just the local events. And after that, I did really well when I went to Detroit or Michigan. I forgot which city it was exactly, at one of the big tournaments. And I beat someone from California there that was really good at the time, around top 10 level. So I was like, okay, maybe I should give this a shot in 2016. And then I did really well that year as well. And I became ranked 11. That was my highest rank as of yet. Since then, and after 2016, I thought I wanted to continue more, especially since I started getting fielded offers to join teams and get paid as a salary monthly, like little bit, not that much, to play. And because of that, I really wanted to go full time, especially for a year. I went full time for a year in like 2017, 2018, and then I realized it's not really for me. I could have done it probably, but it's a different world out there for gaming and esports, and I wasn't too keen on going into it, and I really wanted to go back into trying to pursue medicine. So after that, I decided to apply to med school again. That's like a whole nother thing. So I applied 3 times to med school overall, and in the third one I eventually got in. And here I am now at Hackensack Meridian in New Jersey.
So now, like, it's a pretty big jump from being like a pro gamer to like a med student. Can you just talk us through a little bit about how like your journey to becoming a med student began?
So mainly in the beginning, I always liked medicine. Just like when you're young, you know, you have like, oh, this would be cool if I grow up to be this. And I had that carry me through. And then I applied to 7-year med programs in high school, and they were like almost impossible to get into. So congrats to you. And yeah, I got to like my first round interviews, but I couldn't go through farther than that. And I was thinking, like, do I really want to commit myself to those? I've definitely been like, I don't know. I was like a go with the flow type of guy back then, and I didn't really like to set myself towards anything, which I think is really good if you're young, so you can explore more options. So like after I didn't get into those, I decided like, okay, what do I want to try to do for college? and I really like chemistry from my teacher. So I was like, all right, I'll do chem for college and maybe see if I could do medicine after that. And I went like pretty all in into chemistry in college, and I like ignored medicine for a while until like senior year of college. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to try to apply to med school, because in the end, I didn't want to pursue a PhD in chemistry, which I think is probably the best way to go if you want to stay in that field. Otherwise, it would have been just like the standard, oh, you go into business or you go into a pretty crappy bachelor's degree style of job after college with chemistry, which is not very good. So I wanted to go into medicine because, of course, it's always cool. Medicine's a good field. I think healthcare is a really nice field. And I didn't get in the first time, and then I ended up working at New York Methodist Hospital, which became New York Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital, as administrative assistant. And that was partly because I really wanted to learn more about the social side of medicine, just because I really had this, I guess, closed off perspective in a way of medicine, being in college and being in science. So I only knew like from that side, like what exactly healthcare was from a research side, which I know now after being more in experience in healthcare. Like medicine is not as much research as you would hope for. And I really wanted to learn more about the people side. And also because, again, it was like, even that job is better paying than any chemistry degree job.
Yeah.
So it was a really good time in New York. I have really like, it was actually really rewarding. And I think it really helped me to learn about the social aspect of medicine. And it helps me now, especially seeing the outcomes of healthcare disparities and biases, racial inequality, like all that is coming together now that people are paying attention to it. And social programs like the Asian Health Institute at Methodist Hospital really gave me that perspective. And it was actually things that we, some of the failings of healthcare right now are those talked about, especially as you see now with COVID.
Yeah.
It's proportionally bad for African Americans. And it's like way worse than it's just like regular disparities.
Yeah. So now, like, this is a pretty good transition. Like, we both come from Asian backgrounds, and you know, there's that like whole like stereotype, like Asians become doctor, like lawyer, engineer, something like that, right? Now you're in med school, but during the period of time when you were like competing as a gamer, like what was your like parents' opinion on that?
Yeah, so at first, like of course my dad was like more conservative, and he's like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. And then my mom is more loosey-goosey, and she just wants me to be happy. And then once I started earning a little bit of money for it, they were like okay with me. Like both of them were like trying it out for a year. And I went like all out and trying it out for a year, and like seeing how to start a stream and all that, and just getting to know more people. And I started relatively late in the game, I feel like, for at least Smash Brothers, for becoming full-time and known out there. Like, they have been trying since the well-established people have been like really all in for it since like 2012 or something. So I was starting in like 2017, I was 5 years out, and it would probably take another few years for me to have a lucky break, if anything. So in gaming, you need not only like the time investment, and then like knowledge of the field. You also need to be lucky because there's just a bunch of other people trying to do the same thing, and that's just entertainment in general. You know, like the Hollywood starving artists stereotypes, and it's becoming like that in gaming, which I think is still good because it never existed before. But yeah, the fact that I was able to get a little bit of money, they're like, okay, that's fine. And then I saw for myself, like I didn't exactly want that lifestyle. In the end, especially after like 5 years or so, since I mean, I think I've been okay. I think I've been able to do fine with it, but I still like, it took a few months of a break from like academics or like anything healthcare related for me to realize I wanted to go back to try medicine again. And then I ended up doing research for a year at NJMS, just like really remember like what exactly the science background is and how to be a professional in that regard, which was very helpful as well. So once I got, really I needed all three experiences to do good as I am now in terms of understanding the healthcare field.
Okay, so next, would you say that there are any like specific aspects of being a gamer that help you like in terms of being a med student? Like, would you say there are any aspects of that life that help in this life?
It's actually really interesting. Like in Melee, at least, there's tons of people that have competed and have went to med school. Like for example, my brother was the one who got me into the game, and he's doing med school, and he didn't get ranked top 100, but I think if he was able to learn more, he would have. And then two other prominent players. One was around my skill level, actually. He was a top 20 player. His name was Laud, and he's currently a second year at, I don't remember the exact name. It's Erie, the DO school. And another one, Prince Abu, he is also at a DO school, and he's going into emergency residency next year. He went to a school in Chicago. So it's not like a completely new experience, and which has been really good actually, because I've been able to talk to them a lot about just like med school in general and how to get through, which is definitely important as a first year because you're at the bottom of the totem pole and you have no idea what's going on and what's going to be expected of you. And so it's been pretty good in terms of like translating just like work ethic and just trying to balance, I would say like mental health and just like your lifestyle in general. Now that I have experiences as like doing something I used to love as a work field, and now I'm like doing something I definitely also like, and I'm definitely gonna be doing that for the rest of my life. So it was really good to see that. I mean, I definitely wish I was putting in more effort into studying and stuff, and I realized that I don't like it as much as I thought I would, but I do like the field in general, and studying, of course, is just gonna be a lifelong thing that you have to do.
So now, Hackensack, the medical school, you're in the. There hasn't been a graduating class yet, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So I'm the second class right now, and so it's still experimental for us. Like the first years went through so much, or sorry, the second years went through so much more experimentation, and even now they're going through so much because our school is special. We have a 3-year residency track for everyone who wants to. So everyone is going to finish their core curriculum. I'm going to be starting clerkships in December, so that's a little more than like a year and a half. I'm going to be going to clerkships instead of after my second year. We're going to take our steps in third year, which is slightly different than a lot of schools, but it is trending towards that direction where schools are starting to offer third year step, step test taking. Yeah. Although who knows what's going to happen with all this, because I know there's trouble getting step tests because you have to take it in a testing center, and all of those are obviously closed right now. But definitely interesting being in a new school.
What do you think is the biggest difference between having to study as an undergrad and having to study as like a med student?
Yeah, so the main thing you have to do is actually study. So I didn't study in undergrad at all. Like I would only study for like 1 or 2 classes that I liked. But now you really have to like pay attention in class and be able to work things out on your own and to fit into your schedule. And now that you are a graduate level student, you have more to worry about. I think that's the main thing. Like you have more in your life to take care of. Like now this isn't my first time living in an apartment, but now like I don't have my own income to support that, so I have to like make sure like I get help from my parents to pay for everything right now. So I had to ask my parents, like, that sucks. I have to go to them when I used to have my own income for like the last 6 years or so. And just like taking care of yourself and like planning about like you just have more responsibility in the end. Like I'll have to, I'll take care of my health. And I used to not have to worry in undergrad, and now you have to worry about in graduate school. And just the fact that the courses are harder and there's more of it. I mean, it's definitely just overall, partly because of my accelerated curriculum as well. That's why it's hard for us. But I mean, it's all doable. And if you're able to go through undergrad, then you'll definitely be able to go through graduate school. You just have to like really understand yourself and do what you want to do. Now you have to worry about mental health because you have responsibilities, things like that.
So that's pretty much all that I have to ask for today. So it's been nice talking to you, and thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.